This is everyone's romantic idea of a coach. This kind of coach has the same object, to get you there as fast as possible. This kind of coach was put out of business 100 years ago by the railways. And now the modern luxury coach is getting a bit of its own back. Coaches have come a long way in 40 years, from these to these. 70,000 of them on the roads of Britain. At London's Victoria coach station alone, 9 million passengers pass through every year. Every winter's day, 260 coaches leave. In summer, 600 a day. On summer weekends, 1,000. Coaches carrying people in their tens of thousands. The lowest fare is a 3-bob single. The highest, for a 4,000-mile tour of Europe lasting 42 days, 200 guineas. If every coach in Britain were stretched out nose to tail, you could walk along their roofs the 400 miles from London to Perth. But who wants to walk when there are coaches everywhere? Some people can't cope with coaches. Some people take them in their stride. But whether you like them or hate them, you can't ignore them. And one place that loves them is Blackpool. They aren't going anywhere. They're there already. After you've arrived comes the big decision. What to do first? It's never a bad idea to get a little sustenance in sight. Liquid, jellied or solid. And now for the front. The shops and the arcades, the amusements and the sideshows. Money to spend and things to buy. There's something for everyone at the seaside. You can swim or paddle or just sit and watch. There's always something worth watching. But for some, a coach trip means a longer journey than a day excursion to the seaside. A holiday tour to Paris, Brussels and Amsterdam, to Scandinavia, to Bavaria and the Black Forest, to Spain. Or like this coachload, a 2,000-mile round trip through France and Italy to Rome. The first stage of the journey takes us from London to Lydd Airport. At Lydd, a specially chartered aircraft is waiting. Taking off is always a thrill, even to experienced flyers. And some of us have never flown before. For a youngster like Eric, an invitation into the pilot's compartment is a chance to be dreamed of. That's the channel underneath us now. Soon we're over France. And then we're landing in France, at Lyon. Another coach is waiting for us. As we drive off, our courier begins a story that makes the history books come to life. Driving through France and Italy, you see the history of Europe, in its cities and its churches, in the faces of the people, in the countryside. On these mountainsides above Grenoble, the monks of Grand Chartreuse still collect rare and secret herbs to distill their famous age-old liqueur. Now we are following the route over the Alps that Hannibal took with his elephants in 218 BC. Things are easier now. In his long march from the river Ebro, Hannibal is said to have lost 50,000 men. We've come a long way today, and soon it will be time to stop for the night. High on the side of the mountain is the alpine village of La Grave, a chilly place in the shadow of a glacier, but a warm welcome at the hotel is guaranteed. Everyone will be too tired to dream tonight, except perhaps Eric, and he's likely to dream this dream for many a night. Morning. And what a view. Who wants to lie in bed when the morning mist is rising off the mountains and the air's as sweet as wine? But we've still a long way to go, and an early start is the best way of getting there. It's a beautiful drive to the border at Clavière, but there are a lot of hairpin bends that take a bit of getting used to, and quite a drop into the valley. Almost as good as the roller coasters of Blackpool, but Mario doesn't seem to worry. Before long, we arrive at the Italian frontier. It's amazing how quickly we've got used to being in France. The Italians look quite like foreigners. But just as quickly, we'll get used to them. Though this is a sight you don't often see in Britain. A priest blesses the coach with holy water and prayers for a safe journey. On we go, dropping down from the mountains to the coast, down from 6,000 feet to sea level and the port of Genoa. Genoa is set round a lovely natural harbour and is the greatest port in Italy, but we probably know it best as the birthplace of Columbus. This is his memorial. His two smaller ships, the Pinta and the Nina, each carried a crew of 18. They could all have got into our coach. The warm Mediterranean at last, Reggio. And time for a paddle. There's no doubt about it, it's warmer than Blackpool. Down the coast towards Rome, we come to Pisa with its famous leaning tower. It really does lean. More than 16 feet out of the perpendicular. But it's been leaning for 800 years, so there's no good hanging around for it to fall. Even if you don't understand the language, shopping is easy. So easy, it's hard to say no. The flower of Italy is Florence. So full of art treasures, it would take weeks to see them all. Here's the Ponte Vecchio, one of the loveliest bridges in the world. But we are bound for Rome. And we pass along the Assisi Road, reminding us of St. Francis, the founder of the Franciscan Order of Monks. Rome, the eternal city. So called originally in the legend where Jupiter tells Venus he will give to the Romans an eternal empire. And in the heart of Rome, the Vatican and St. Peter's, with its famous dome designed by Michelangelo, who also designed these costumes worn by the famous Swiss Guard. An old legend says that if you throw a coin into the Trevi Fountain and wish, one day you will return to Rome. Eric makes doubly sure by throwing his in backwards. The great romantic Byron wrote, "While stands the Colosseum, Rome shall stand. When falls the Colosseum, Rome shall fall. And when Rome falls, the world." Perhaps we can now change our minds. Perhaps the old stagecoach isn't as romantic as our modern coach. But then, if it's romance you're after, what's wrong with a coach to Blackpool? Yes, the back of a coach is as good a place as any if you want to see life.